So we're going to make some pasties now. So the first thing I'm going to do is make the filling. We can either make these with puff pastry or short crust. If you only make them with short crust, that will only class as a medium skill dish, but anything with puff pastry is higher skill. So first thing we need to do is do the filling. So normally we have potato and swede and onions. Occasionally they have carrot in, so you can have it. So we're going to peel the onion, that's the first job. Top and tail it. Now you can put red onion or white onion, but we mainly got white onions. So you guys, you're going to put white onions in yours. The red onions were more for the vegetarians because they're going to do something open, and I'm going to show you that today. And if you want to, and you've got some pastry left, you can make a little vegetarian choice. So if you're thinking for your exam, you're thinking of doing a pasty, maybe you could do a vegetarian version as like an accompaniment. Yeah, so onion, chop it one way, chop it the other way, nice and fine. So I'm only going to use half an onion will be plenty for the amount I've got here. So this extra bit of onion, I'm just going to put in my chutney, which I'm making over here. So my chutney, then the onion goes in. You all need to pay attention, otherwise you won't be doing it enough. So you all need to pay attention, because otherwise you're going to struggle to get it done. So I'm going to only use half a potato, but it's helpful to peel half a potato. So I've got this peeler here. I find these ones slightly easier and quicker. With this one, I've got this one at home with a red handle, which looks like that one, which I actually think it's a little bit better quality and that's quite quicker. Or maybe I'm just used to using the red one at home, because at the moment where I've got so much fruit that's done, I would say nearly every day I'm doing a whole washing up bowl of apples or pears. So not every day, but probably every other day I'm doing a washing up bowl for the pears or apples and freezing it. So I think I'm just, so I've got one potato here. So you can grate this if you want to, because we're going to put it, we don't want it too big because we're putting it in raw. So I'm only going to use half a potato. So we're going to make it into like chips first. So cut it one way. So this make it looking like chips. Then we have to do this really fine. So this is going to go in raw. So you don't, if you think you can't cut too many at a time, I'm going to cut it in two lots, right? I'm going to go down here and cut it really as fine as I can. If you cut it too big, then once you start eating it, the potato is going to be raw. So you'll need to cut it nice and small. If you don't think you can cut it this small, you're welcome to grate it, right? So that's one lot done. These ones. So cut them into chips. I'm doing 4 at a time. As fine as I can. Yeah, nice and fine. And if you buy like the Kingster's pasties, they have the potato this sort of shape. So potato, that's only half a potato. Now the swede, as a secret with swede, I'll show you a secret with swede, we can top one end off, and we can chop the other end off. But rather than try and peel it, which you can do like this, there's a secret way to do this. You can cut it through, or cut it in half, then cut it this way. Then I'm going to do enough for everybody here. And I've got a second one if we need it. And when you know it is not peeled yet, it's not peeled on purpose, so I'll just move this to one side because I'm only going to use one bit. So this bit I'm going to use. Now with a small knife, I'm going to cut the skin off, and you need to cut it off quite thick. It's not like a potato, you need to cut it off quite thick. Then, this is similar to like doing the chip saga again. Cut it this way so I get 4 little chips. Now, then I can cut all 4 at the same time. Now if you're not very good at chopping, you might be better just cutting 2 at a time, but try and make sure it's nice and thin, otherwise the swede won't be cooked, right? Or you can grate it, because if you grate it, it's nice and small. That's another way to do it. Another way to do it, if you want it really thin, is like peel it and then chop it, is another way. So I'm going to put a tiny bit of carrot in, only this tiny bit here. And it's quite hard to peel a small bit. So what I could have done was maybe peel the whole carrot and then do it. So same again with this. I'm going to cut this into 4, like so, and then cut it this way nice and small. Nice and small. And if you don't like one of the things, you can leave them out. So if you're not keen on carrot, most people love carrots. So now I've got onion in there, four vegetables in there. Now I'm going to put my mince in. So I'm using minced beef, and you've got a little bag each. It's a 1/6 of a packet. or 1/7 of the packet. So there's 100 grams, 1,000 grams in a packet. 1,000 grams in a packet divided by 7 is about 7, 15, 14. So you've got 140 grams of mince. So the equivalent of about 3 sausages. So a little bit of salt, about half a teaspoon of salt, otherwise it'll be tasteless. Then I'm going to put a little bit of black pepper in. Now you can put any spices in yours. So if you, we can get some curry powder out later. So if you want them like curry pasties, you can put some curry. Have we got any curry paste? Yeah. So if we have, you can put chilli in it. You can put in anything you like. Yeah. So now chili pasties, in the Indians they have like the samosas. That's a bit like a curry pasty, I would say, but you can put anything in it. So you can have Stilton in this, beef and Stilton pasties, cheese and beef pasties, beef and leek pasties, loads of different things. I'm just going to check on it. Now earlier, there was hardly any liquid in there, it looked dry, but there's loads of water's coming out of the pails now. Later, I'll have to take the lid on so it evaporates. Now, you can mix this up with a spoon, but I'm just going to mix it up with my hand. And I've got probably as much vegetable in here as meat, so you don't need a lot. You only need half a potato and a tiny bit of carrot and one other little bit of Swedish plenty. If there's any of this left, we're just going to make like a burger with it if we run out of patience. So the next thing I do, that's my filling done. So next thing I need to wash my hands where I've handled the raw meat. So I'm going to come over here, hand washing soap. And what you can do, you can top your sink up with hot soapy water, then you're not touching the taps and contaminating the taps as well. And then we're using the paper towels. I might go straight in the rubbish bowl. So next thing, I'm rolling the pastry out. But before I doing any rolling of the pastry, to save myself time, I'm going to move all the vegetables up, so I need to give myself a bit of space. So I'm going to put all these in here. This is a sweet cut up for everybody. Onion I'm going to use again, move that off. Don't need that, don't need the potato, don't need that. I'm going to, I'm going to make the short crust pastry. So in here, how much flour's in here? Any idea, Jenna?
I think 100.
100?
Yeah.
Okay. So for 100 grams of flour, we need 2 tablespoons of water. So I'm putting the water in here ready, then I can get it out. So you'll need 2 tablespoons of water, but we don't put it in yet, we have to rub it together, as you all know. So this is called short crust pastry, similar to making apple pie, but that's normally sweet pastry, but short crust you can use for quiche. So if you're thinking of doing quiche for your exam, or apple pie, the sweet stuff would be slightly better with the sweet pastry, but you can use the short crust for, and it's just got sugar and egg in it, that's one difference. So it's called, who knows why it's called short crust pastry? I've told you this before, it's quite a hard one. Tiana, what was the question? Just remind me of the question.
Why is it called short crust pastry?
Correct, what is the answer? You don't know, who knows why it's called short crust pastry? No year 11s know that, that's rather worrying. Yes?
Is it because it doesn't rise at all?
No, good guess actually. It doesn't rise though, you are quite right. Yes?
I can't think what they're called, but they're like really short and they can't expand and all that.
You're close. So by rubbing the fat around the flour, and then what happens is the flour is being coated in fat now. It stops the gluten molecules stretching and it keeps them short. So in bread, you can make it nice and stretchy. With this, where it's got the water in, with this, you can't. So once it's rubbed together, it looks like breadcrumbs. Then we add the water. So we need roughly 2 tablespoons. So actually, I'm only going to add about 1 2/3, because if you add too much water, it's not so good. And but you have to add enough water, otherwise it just breaks when you roll it out. So that's just about 1 1/2 or 1 2/3 of a tablespoon. That's about right, I feel. So if you look at it there, all the rubbish out the bottom. So the first thing I'm going to do is make some different pasties. So I finished with the chopping board, but I'll put that there for a minute because I might need it in a minute. I might think of something else. So I should have a flour shaker. So we're going to take this one here, that's good. So we should have our own flour shakers each, hopefully. And then when we finish today, we're going to sanitize them ready for another class. So now, rather than just roll it out, if I want a round circle, if I roll it out now, it's awkward to cut 2 round things out of it. So I'm going to cut to here. Now, pasties can be any size, and I don't want everybody making the same size. I want you to all be ingenious and do whatever you want. So this is going to make a small pasty. If you were to have a larger pasty. We've got loads of different size cutters, but I'm going to make 2 with these ones here, and I'm going to make them look different, right? So this is the short crust ones first, and I've got using this rolling pin. This is a nice one. That little rolling pin is not very good, by the way, so I would, if I was you, get a different one out. So make sure I've got a lot of stuff on my table. That's why I was trying to move some of it earlier, to give myself a bit of space. Roll it. You can see what I mean there. Good example. I've got too much stuff on my table. So what I need to do is, and this is a good example, is if you have got too much stuff on your table, I've finished with that, so I'm going to move that. Let's see what I need all this in a minute, see, so I don't want to move too much stuff. The rubbish, I've finished with it at the moment. Let me see what else I can move. The bacon and cheese, I don't really want to put that on top of each other. The cheese grater I need in a minute, so that's okay. So now I'm going to hopefully not knock anything off. So, it started to stick then, so I need a little bit of flour on top, but not very much. Now with this, you have to try and keep it round, and this will save you a lot of time in the long run. Roll it, spin it. Now that's going to be big enough for my ring here, definitely. Yeah. Can you, Jenny? Can you get one of the ones we used for the puff pastry the other day? I think they're in the cupboard at the end, are they? You know, the ones that we use for the Bakewell, but for the Bakewell tart, we've got a thing called flan rings, and we've got 2 different sizes. And the reason I'm showing you is, I reckon I've got enough to do a bigger one. Now there's an advantage of making bigger ones. What's the advantage of making bigger ones? Lily, what was the question, please? What is the advantage of making larger ones? Any idea? You can get more filling in them in proportion to the pastry. If you have them really small, you can't put much in there. So I need a pastry brush. And I don't know if there's any here. Normally we have them all in here, pastry brushes. We haven't got many of this. There's only actually one in the drawer, so that's one. I'm going to use water here, but we're going to get some eggs. Jen, can you give me out 1 egg, cheers? So watch this here. So look, this one's the different sizes. So I'm going to do one big one. Yeah. And I could even use this big one here where I've rolled out. So if you're doing this and you want to use this one, I would cut it into possibly 3, right? Because I don't want to waste it by doing that. I've got too much trimmings there. So I've got 2. Then with this bit here, I'm not going to waste it. And if you've got any of this left over, and a little bit, you could even make something sweet with it. So you don't have to make, if you run out of filling, you know. So this is going to be 3. And these are with the short crust. So this is going to be enough for this one. So look, I've got 2 big ones and 1 little one. Now what I can do, then I'm not going to have any wastage, thank you. So we're going to use some egg wash today because they are far better egg washed. If you don't egg wash them, they don't look very shiny. So far better egg wash. So there's a bowl in there. And egg wash definitely gives it a glaze. That's one of the things. Now, but eggs are very versatile. I'm going to use it for 2 things here. I'm going to brush it here. This could be done with water, but this is going to act as the glue. So I'm going to egg it first. You can egg it first or afterwards, but I'm egging it first, and I don't get my brush. Then we put the meat in. Now, the secret in here, you can't put too much meat in. If you put too much meat in, you won't be able to fold it over. So for these ones here, this is bigger than a golf ball. It's hard to say. So a little bit bigger than a golf ball. Any more than that, it won't fold up, which you'll see. So I'm going to try and fold them up, and I'll take some out. This one will need less than a golf ball. So if you try and put too much in it, it won't work. Then it will just split when it's cooked. And the puff pastry, you can do some with the puff pastry and some with this. Then we fold it over. And we bring it together. Now I've actually put a lot in here. This is pushing it on the filling, right? This is pushing it. Hopefully you can all see. I might need to take a tiny bit out of that one. I'm going to take a tiny bit out of that one. Fold it over. Now first thing to do is seal it. So you need to seal it first. Now pasties can be done 3 or 4 different ways. So these ones are made with short crust, and this breaks easily. So this is quite hard to do the crimping like they do in for the gangsters, but I'll try with this one here. So this one is called the dinosaur. So I'm going to do 3 different shapes here. So that one's like called the dinosaur, like a stegosaurus. This one is just going to be like here, and you can even get a fork. No fork in there. So you can get a fork, or you can do it with something else. and you've probably seen this done before. You can buy them sort of different types of pasties like this. And this one is the Gangsters one. This is better done with the puff pastry, but I'll try it. You push it round. This is a bit harder to do. This is called crimping, and this seals it and folds over. Then, Ollie, can you get me a piece, 3 pieces of paper, please? Right, because we're going to use the paper, then it won't stick to the trays and they're far easier for you to wash up. Yep. And then we put these in the oven until they're golden brown. Okay, so you guys can all go off now. And for the puff pastry I'm going to use as well, where there's no vegetarians in here, and you can all get cracking. Thank you. Thank you. Well done, guys. Keep tacking.